Every time you touch me, I can't control my body. Oh, baby, you are on my mind. All I think about, and I don't wanna stop.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the Real Zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation, actually a special conversation with Trent and friends. We got a good one tonight. Actually, a very good brother that I'm very familiar with. I've known him for a number of years. We've done some work for a number of years on the Taylor Kitty Media platform. And Brother Ramiel Bay, you guys know him as Ross Speaks. He actually did a post here last week and kind of got interesting. And I thought it was interesting. I thought that we would actually come through and bring this topic to light and shed some light on it. And nobody can do that better than the brother when he's talking historically. The brother, I know him very well, Ross Speak, Ramiel, and he's going to get into it. But the topic tonight, we're talking about, are you the prize? Is the woman the prize? Are you the prize? And I thought it would be quite interesting to bring this brother on with this ball of confusion going on in these internet streets between the sexes. To me, and in my opinion, it's a ball of confusion. People are yelling at each other, not understanding either one. So we're going to get some clarity on this. Let's bring the brother in real quick. Brother Ramiel.
Greetings.
What's going on, brother?
Oh, man, another day. Happy to be above ground.
There it is. Yeah, man, so I saw your post, man. Post. First of all, let's introduce you to the folks. Tell the folks about you. I've known you for a number of years. Run down your resume real quick.
I'm Ross Speaks, or, you'll find me, for those who know me, I'm Ramiel L. Bay. I'm a life coach. I teach astrology. And, I do couples counseling, with astrology and things of this nature. And I've been, doing this for over 10 years now, a little bit longer. Me and Trent actually go way back like pink Cadillacs for, they first show, and they, I was honored to be invited to be a part of their network. To come on and be able to, they gave me a stage, a venue, an avenue to help get some information out about us historically, about who we are as a people, where we come from, law, mathematics, spiritual concepts, and so on and so forth. So, I've taught all around the country, university, schools, things that, all of that. So here I am.
Good stuff, man. Actually, it brought me back once I started sending this link out. Took me back to that time when we used to be running these internet streets. Folks would call, texted me, and I was like, hey, what's the time zone? What's the time zone? I hadn't heard that in over a few decades. I'm like, wow. Now I got, this is Pacific time, is Eastern, Central. It was took me back to a time. So some good stuff. I know we're going to have some great times here tonight as you bring the knowledge. Good stuff. So what was your thoughts, man, when you actually wrote this piece up? Is the woman the prize? Are you the prize? What was your thought process on that?
Well, usually for those who've been on my page, if you see me write something long, it's because it's been bubbling and brewing for a while that I feel like I needed to address it. Exactly. And with this particular subject matter, we often and continuously see women say they're the prize. New men And I want to be clear, these new men, will
Dig
even
a little
call
deep.
themselves the prize.
Dig a little deep on that new myth. I know where you're going with that, but dig a little deeper for the audience when you talk about the new myth.
These less masculine men, the new breed of men that you see, these young men who are lacking masculine mentorship
Exactly.
throughout their life, who have not fully embraced their masculinity and the role that comes with that, and the responsibility that comes with that, right?
Exactly.
These guys, you'll hear them say they're the prize, or, this is the woman should pay half, type mentality that comes out, and there's reasons for all of these things, which we won't get into all of them today, but there's reasons for everything.
Gotcha.
So I had that on my mind, and I kept seeing women, with a prize and this and that. And it eventually, got to a point where I'm like, okay, we need to have a real perspective brought around this subject matter, because
Exactly.
no one's truly addressing it from a ancient perspective. So this is why I feel like I needed to put that out there. Let's,
And
and talk.
when I saw the post, man, and you're absolutely right. No one's actually speaking the proper way on this type topic. I mean, it's
Mhm,
full of toxic, full of confusion on both sides. It's on both sides of the fence, male and female.
mhm.
And so as I'm reading it, like, you know what? There's only a couple of brothers that could actually bring this in. Don't bring their volume over 5 and still get their point across.
Mhm.
Don't have to be any yelling, and be a lot of teachable moments. And like I told the folks, bring the notepad because I knew he was going to bring it. So
Yeah.
the floor is yours, brother.
And I will say this before I begin. I am a person who is going to deal with the subject. So for any of the women, especially who are listening,
Right.
this is not a balanced show where I'm going to, when I say something about women, have to come back and talk about men to make you feel good. I'm not going to do that.
Straight
I'm
talk,
going
no
to talk
chaser.
about the subject matter because this is the topic.
Exactly.
We understand that men play a role in all these things. I shouldn't have to say that. We have to learn to be accountable, and we have to learn to sit in our, you understand, we got to learn to sit in it sometimes so that
Exactly.
we can grow from it, understand it, and then move forward with a better perspective and willingness to take responsibility.
Exactly. And the only way
Now,
you can do that, man, is delivering that thing, like I said, in a volume not going over 5 in a very respectable way. So they get it. They know we're on the platform. It's straight talk, no chaser. So this is what it is.
yes, sir, yes, sir. So when we think about the woman is the prize, we have to look at where that comes from. How did this mindset or this cultural identity, cultural norm, how did it come about? And the woman is the prize comes from ancient matriarchal societies. The matriarchal societies, you hear people talk about that we're in a patriarchal society, but most people don't know that prior to that we were in matriarchal societies. And under ancient matriarchal societies, things, hereditaments, things that you inherit, things that you pass down,
Right.
were given through to the daughters. And that was because she was considered the birther of the nation.
Right.
So all the riches went to her. This is why you will see women adorned in ancient societies in gold, silver, and things of this nature walking around, because that was a show of wealth and inheritance. The woman at this point was understood to be the birther of nations. She was the one who was, and the only one on the planet who was ordained by Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever, to have the ability to incubate life. And because of that, there was a reverence that was placed upon her, and a respect and an honor that was given to her, because we understood that through her, we survive, we continue.
Absolutely.
So to be able to have a woman allow you to invest in her, invest your semen, your lineage in her, was an honor to you, because she was the one who was ordained and given the gift to be able to do this particular thing that was necessary for society to continue.
So, in your opinion, brother, let's say what's up to the folks real quick. As you know, in the conversation, folks come in,
Yeah,
comment all that stuff there. What's going on, Slash? Can you see that, brother? Can you read that one? I can't
yeah,
see it.
yeah. Let's see it. Peace,
Okay.
peace. How you doing?
What's going on, brother? So, in your opinion,
Mhm.
where is the disconnect? Let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Where did the disconnect happen, and where this ball of confusion? Why is the ball of confusion happening, and how did the disconnect start?
And that is a very important question, and one is very interesting. Again, this is a subject that is never talked about, what I'm about to talk about now. When we start looking at the disconnect, in the ancient matriarchal societies, women fell spiritually. They started to have a spiritual disconnect. And that spiritual disconnect then emanated in them being jealous and vengeful with each other.
Gotcha.
Now, what they do, because the woman is who? She's the first teacher. So as a woman's womb, listen to me carefully, as a woman's womb is, society is. As a woman's womb is, society is, because the womb is the first school. So if the woman is in a sunken spiritual state, so is her womb. If a
Gotcha.
woman is jealous and envious, so is her offspring. So then she began to birth men, sons, who began to wage war all over the planet and had little to no respect for his aunties because his mother did. And so now we have the wars going on all over the planet. And this is where the disconnect starts. Now, to bring it more modern for people, when we're talking about all people, and I'll come back to us specifically as
Right.
melanated people, you start going back to time periods when the wars were going on, and you'll start seeing that a lot of women were being forced into enslavement. The first enslaved beings on the planet were women, not men.
Do tell. I didn't know that. Do tell.
Yeah, and that's a huge side note for it. But the first enslaved beings are women, and they were being sold. So when you start going, when the Caucasus man and woman came off of Caucasus Mound, Europeans or white people,
Right.
okay, they sold their women to the melanated people for food. So when they went into Asia Soor and Asia Noor, which is southern and northern Asia, they had no resources on the 51st parallel, which is right outside of Georgia or other side of Turkey, which is the Caucasus Mounds. So they went down, and because they had no resources for survival, they then began to sell their women. This is true history. People can look it up.
Gotcha.
So you start seeing this going on all around the world in society, and then it begins this has this other whole catastrophic effect worldwide. Then you fast forward on the European male and the European female have always had contention. We just don't see it. We just don't see it. We think that they're like glued together. They're not. The European female is not loyal to the European male. This is just the facts of it. This is the reason why there's a big fear on the planet. Why? Because the Europeans know that the melanated man has the ability to wipe them off the face of the earth just simply through their women. So then you have this disconnect between them, right? And this then, because we're now in a colonial society, this pushes the disconnect, the enmity of how men and women also see each other. Because, of course, eventually society takes on the colonizer and the colonial effect. And that's where the world is. Women are no longer respected. Men are respecting them. Women aren't as protected, things of this nature. But we always got to keep our focus on how it started, which was the spiritual fall during the matriarchal societies. Gotcha. Now, when we look at us specifically as melanated people, I'm not going to go too far back in history because it makes it so long, because we've been at war as men and melanated men and women. We've been at war with each other for a
very long time.
But what I will do is I'll take it back into the time of enslavement, when we were enslaved here in the different parts of the world, the Americas, Europe, so on and so forth. We were pitted against each other purposely. The reason that the man was whipped and beaten in front of his mom, in front of his daughter, was not only to show that the European man was more powerful, but to make the melanated woman feel like he was weak and couldn't be trusted and that she was unprotected.
Right.
And so then eventually she no longer trusts us for her well-being the way that she did before, because constantly you're being emasculated.
So it's funny that you would actually bring that up, because that's the climate that we're in today. We're in that climate where you're always hearing these women, I don't trust you, I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just, you're not a good decision maker. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it's heavy now. I'm talking about it's super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Super heavy to where it's actually disturbing, and somebody has to speak on it.
Yes. It's a known fact that trauma is carried through the DNA.
Right.
So a lot of these women are just saying what their great grandmother experienced.
Right.
They're just saying it out loud now because they still carry that trauma.
Right.
Okay. And this is just scientific facts. They'll tell you that trauma can be carried through DNA, right? Which really would be the case, a case for reparations, but we won't go there. If trauma is carried through DNA, then it ain't that hard to make this case, then, is it?
Right.
However, with that experience that was going on in our enslavement, you had men who would watch their woman be raped or take her to Mass's house, or not die fighting to save her,
right,
thinking it was better. This is what was going on, right? So now there's a huge disconnect. She doesn't trust us coming from there. And it was all knitted into the fabric. And then if you go even further into the 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s, when our land was being stolen, when we were coming out of enslavement, our land was being stolen, we were being strong-armed as men. All these things were happening. This plays on the psyche.
Yeah.
Right? This happens. This is what happens. It plays on her psyche. She doesn't feel protected. She doesn't feel like she can trust you. She feels like her children are at risk.
Exactly.
Right? So then you come down to the 40s and 50s where now you can't get the job. Now we're in poverty, and it's a never-ending cycle, and this was going on for a long time. And although as men at times we were doing the best we could, it still knits a certain fabric into the relationships and how we see each other,
Exactly.
because it kept us in a pure survival state. And the longer you're in a state of survival, the lower your vibration has to go.
Exactly.
You
And
go into the base instinct.
this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you when I saw that post, because I knew you were going to bring a different type of lens to it, and you were going to break it down to the point where, hey, this is what happened 50s, 60s, the 1900s,
Mm-hmm.
going back, way back in the biblical days. People need to understand that this is a spiritual war, in my opinion.
Indeed.
It has nothing to do
Indeed.
with us at all. This is a spiritual war.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, the way I look at it when I'm viewing these people online, I'm seeing nothing but demonic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but demonic stuff. I'm like, wow, does she even know what she's saying? Does he even know what he's saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people need to wake up, man. I'm telling you, this is not good. This is not good. So their issues have nothing to do with one another. This is something just like you said. Carry on, brother, because this is deep.
So when we see how this is built up, then we have to understand that the system is working the way it was meant to work, right? Whether
Exactly.
a person wants to believe that the Willie Lynch letter is real or not, it is a complete fact that everything in it was instituted.
Exactly.
We can dispute whether Willie Lynch existed, but we can't dispute the tactics that are in there were completely true.
Exactly. We got our first lady in here, Kathy from North Carolina. You want to catch that, brother? I can't see it too much.
Yes, she says that is so true. Society has pitted our people against one another, not trusting, not feeling safe, and communication has fallen through the cracks. If it's not seen as a people, it will continue on. If it is not seen, I think she meant by the people, it will continue on. Yes,
absolutely,
totally agree. And we have to first, before we can really get into the subject matter, right? Because we ain't even into the subject matter really
at all.
But we have to understand that to understand why this subject matter becomes important, right?
Exactly.
Because this is a thing where I'm not a blame person, because when we get into matriarchal societies and the spiritual fall and the first war, it was us. Okay, so we cannot, as a people, continue to walk around blaming other races for our problems, because you can't do that and then say you believe in karma. You can't do that and then say that you understand karma. Right? You can't. So we're here. We're in this position based off of things that we did.
Right.
And it's such a deep subject that when you go into that really unveils really what happened on the planet. So we're here because of our own deeds overall.
Absolutely.
The first will be last, and the last will be first. Right. So there's the laws of compensation have to be paid, right?
Absolutely.
So here we are. Now we come to the 60s and 70s and 40s, and even a little bit prior to that, we're making inroads to get things together. Our women specifically were taken care of very well. You will find that all over the world that melanated women, and all over this country that melanated women in the early 1900s were taken care of very well by us melanated men. In fact, a lot of laws were actually put in place because women of Caucasian descent was actually fleeing from their homes, coming into our tribes, and even attempting to come into our homes, because their men were treating them like fifth-class citizens. Right? That women's lib movement was for her. Our women, stupidly, jumped
jumped on
into it
board. Exactly.
like it was your business. It wasn't
But
your business.
everything was good. Everything was good with him.
You were
Everything was
great.
good.
You were good.
That wasn't their fight to
It
fight.
was not. It wasn't your business. You were in somebody else's business.
Exactly.
Okay. And I mean, and this is historical fact. When you go and you look at, the situation in the early 1900s, I think we it's either 20 or 40 million acres of land between with us as melanated people. Today we have less than 2 million.
Right.
We were in a different place because we understood, based on this instinct for survival, that we needed each other. We may have been fighting each other at times. We may have been at each other's throats, but I need you.
Exactly.
The 50s, the 60s took away our need for each other because we start wanting to look, and such as ice is colder.
Exactly.
I like the way those women dress. Oh, I want their education. I want this. I want that. I want them to accept my dollar even though they hate me.
In my opinion, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the bombshell was segregation.
It is.
The bombshell. The moment the first brother that stepped off that bridge, that was a wrap for us.
It was a wrap. And they
That
knew
was
it.
a wrap. That was a complete wrap. And people don't understand that all that stuff coincide with one another, man.
Mm-hmm. And they knew it.
This was done by design. And there's a way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we can't be yelling at each other like that and going back and forth like that, man. A man does not, the men that I know, like you and men that I know, don't argue back and forth with a woman.
No, sir.
It's not going to happen. I'm not about to debate with you.
You'll be arguing with yourself.
Exactly. Go ahead, brother.
So let's get a little bit into the woman is the prize and what we're looking at today. The reason I wanted to drop and bring in the cultural and ancient perspective is because in order to understand the woman is the prize today, we have to understand where it originates from. When we look at the ancient concept of a woman as a prize, there was a code that women walked by. Women, at this point in time, they kept their womb clean. They were raised to take care of their household. They were raised to take care of their husband.
Right.
They were raised to be virgins, and sexual intercourse was the key to making marriage official, or what's called consummating. That's why it's called consummating the marriage. Even today, it's still a law. You can get married, and if you've never had sex, it's automatically known. Why? Because the marriage was never consummated, which means made official. Sex made it official. Sex makes that's what marriage is. Sex is the marriage. It means merging, right? So women understood this. They were taught these things. So they honored that code. Women understood that their bodies were sacred, that their mind, their words had power.
Right.
And they honored that. And so because of that, they held and maintained a sacred space.
Absolutely.
That is what woman is the prize mean, because when you got a woman, when you were honored with the ability to marry her, to merge with her, you knew that she hadn't been defiled, is what they were called then.
Touch, right.
You knew that your house was going to be taken care of. You knew that your children were going to be reared based on your cultural norms and your customs. You knew that. And you knew that neither one of you were going anywhere. There was no divorce.
Right.
You knew it. It wasn't happening. So that's what made her the prize. Today, there's not one of those things that's the cultural norm.
At all.
But women are still claiming to be the prize without really.
Honestly, I truly believe that they're operating in the blind. They have no clue.
Well, and that's why we're here,
Exactly.
so they can get a clue.
There
Because
you
we
go.
can't win without them.
Exactly.
Just we can't.
Exactly.
We can't win this. We can't win without them. So we need them to get a clue.
Exactly.
You know, today women don't keep their bodies pure. You know, you'll meet a virgin woman over 17, probably every 20 years. You'll meet a woman who um, a minimal with minimal partners throughout her life, rarely.
Right.
When I say minimum, I'm talking three.
Right.
Rare,
Right.
right?
Very rare.
Rare. You don't know if they cook. You don't know if they clean. You don't know if your household is going to be taken care of. You don't know if they can, manage finances. You don't know, because women today are a part of the culture of I do what I want to do. I want to go experience life. How do I know what kind of sex I like if I've only been with one person? This is what
Exactly.
you hear.
So
You hear. Mhm.
my question to you, brother, how do we genuinely and softly walk back together? Meaning when I say back together between the sexes, man and female. How do we, as melanated people, how do you actually what do you suggest? How do we walk back together into this thing historically and get back to the historical side of things?
That is another great question. I'm going to give you a different level of honesty, that just pure truth of what I see. From what I'm seeing right now, if you are a woman or a man who has actually done the work,
Right.
done the work on yourself, it's slim that in this country you're going to meet someone else who has. It just is.
That's true.
What I actually suggest for men and women is to find our brothers and sisters who are in different countries that still have a culture.
That's
And
true.
as much as people may not like it, of course, I don't care.
I mean, you can't get no more honest than that.
Yeah,
That's the truth
because we don't have a culture here.
at all.
This thing ain't getting better because with us together more, like how? We don't even have a culture. There's no culture.
At all.
We think rap and R&B is culture.
Exactly.
Like
I'm glad somebody said it. That's
we
not
think
culture.
that's not culture. We don't even know what culture is. Like, truthfully, we don't know what culture is. If you was to ask most of the people listening on the show, most of the people you went to school with, if you walked up to people on the streets and you said define culture, they would have no idea.
Right.
They would start talking about something. That's not culture. Culture deals with language. It deals with lineage.
Right.
Cultures are built off every culture, and I do mean every culture in the world is built through religion. Every single one. Meaning that every culture is defined by its concepts of its connection to the divine, and it always has been.
Exactly.
You know,
We're
so
gonna take
what's our religion?
we're gonna take another comment here. 1 second. Let me pull it up for you.
He says so. The sisters burnt their Vicky secrets for Beckyisms. Yep. The great elder Marcus Garvey co-signed with the women's suffrage movement way back, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I mean, truthfully, with all due respect to the honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, not everything he did was correct.
Right.
Because the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman, Malcolm X. And again, respectfully, to our brother El Haj Malik El Shabazz, not everything that he said was correct either. Now, part of that is true. Part of that is true. So when we look at how do we fix it, the best thing you can do is mate with someone who's going in a direction who has what you need.
Exactly.
Right. That's the best thing you can do. Right now, we need a culture.
Exactly.
So if you spot a melanated person that has a culture, because with that culture, it brings in the concepts of actions. How do I act? What do I do?
Exactly.
And right now, we're raised as a free for all. Do your own thing. Figure it out as you go. Go travel around the world and have fun. That's the message.
It's funny that you would bring that need up. I spoke on that need last night and the week before that, talking about asking more for what you need and less of what you want. It seems like it's hard for folks to do that.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it! If I need it, I need it, and I'm gonna ask for it if I need it. The want don't even. I'm so far into the higher level of myself, I'm not even interested in the want.
Most
I
people,
need that need. I need it.
most people get divorced because they didn't get what they wanted, although they had everything they needed.
Exactly.
When you look at divorces, it ain't because what they needed wasn't there; it's what they wanted wasn't there. And so, your whole domestic units are broken up because a person is unstable in their wants, and they think it makes sense.
Exactly.
Children's lives are put at risk, and unfortunately, this is done by women most of the time. You can look at I don't even know which sister it was, Tia or Tamara, I don't know, but whatever it was, you look at that separation and what was put out, because we don't know, right? We don't know everything. We just know what was put out.
Right.
But it was based on a want. Based on a want.
That's ridiculous.
That's it. The man, even the false narrative of how much money he made. And so I did research on it. He made just as much money as she did.
Right.
His net worth was pretty much the same as hers. So the narrative that women were spewing around as if, oh, she wanted a man who made more. Really? He like had $4 million. I mean, what do you? So a man with $4 million. I mean, if a man with $4 million, you ain't happy with that. The men who are making 50, 60,000 ain't got a chance out here no more.
Exactly.
You leaving a man, but that was the narrative that the women were putting out. Oh, he wasn't. Man made a net worth of $4 million. He's in more movies than she is right now.
Exactly.
You look at all the situations, and that was the difference between what our great grandmother understood. Women today will complain and say, well, now women have a choice. Grandma had a choice. I don't know what, I mean, this is just people who don't understand history. Grandma had choices, but everything she needed was there.
Right.
She understood, and so did grandpa understood that life ain't always about what you want. Life is about your mission and being focused in on that. Well, today, women don't understand that. They've been duped into looking at these reality TV shows and thinking that, this is how they're supposed to act. And what made it sad is that I didn't know that on those shows that all the women were over 40. I didn't know that until my ex, someone who's now my ex, told me.
Yeah, the majority of them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you got to think these are, and to take responsibility for my generation. These are the people in my generation teaching this.
These are quote unquote seasoned women.
Right. Acting like this.
Yeah, exactly.
So guess what? The little girls do.
Doing the same thing.
They act just like it.
Same thing.
You see now, you look at these prom pictures, they're gross.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I looked at that today. I was like, wow, look at this.
It's gross.
It is.
I remember when it was understood that girls under 18 don't wear red.
Right.
You don't wear red lipstick.
Now, for the folks that would want to say, not with you saying that, a whole bunch of women will say, oh, he's trying to bring us back to the 60s, the 50s, and,
I don't
well,
care.
we can't wear pants and all this other stuff. It's not even about that. It's not about that at all. To me, yeah, it's a certain way a lady should carry herself.
Yeah. You want to be a prize and carry yourself like one. You can't be
Exactly.
carrying yourself like you trash, talking about you a prize. You trash. It's just what it is. You can't have it both ways. If you
Exactly.
want to be a prize and you're going to claim to be a prize, then walk around like you're a prize instead of trash.
And this
No,
is
no.
where, ladies
Go
and
ahead.
gentlemen, this is where the confusion comes in at with you guys. When I say you guys, with you ladies, you continue saying that you're the prize, but the things that spew out of your mouth, the way you talk, your tone, the way you carry yourself, I
Trey,
don't
let
see
me
a
ask you,
prize.
how many games, even if you got to guess, are in an NBA season?
82
And what are they going for at the end?
championship.
Do they get to touch that? Well, let me ask you, what comes with the championship? What do they get to
They
represent?
get, they get an actual ring. They get an actual ring.
Okay, and then what else? The
They get
ring
the
and a,
they get the trophy,
okay, so
and
a
they
ring
get
and a
bonuses
trophy.
and all that stuff. Yeah,
Do they get to touch it in game one?
not at all.
What about game 50?
Not at all.
Game 82?
Nope.
So you're telling me that these men go 82 games sweating, working out, and they repeat this every single year to get a ring and a trophy
Yep.
that they cannot get until they put the work in. Now, as a
One more, one
man
more
to
time for the
man,
people in the back. One more time for the people in the back who didn't hear you.
you're telling me that these men play 82 games year after year in search of a ring and a trophy that they can't get or touch until they win. They can't touch it or get it in game 150 or 82. They must
Exactly.
complete the task. And they
Exactly.
will do it for 20 years and will feel unsatisfied if they never got it, but they kept doing it, kept doing it.
Yeah.
So, as a man, when a woman allows you to touch her ring or her trophy in game one, is it the same?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is, it
I get it.
right? It's not the same, right? I mean,
No, it's not.
just so that I'm not crazy.
No, it's not the same at all. Honestly, she devalued herself with that.
So, if a man goes to college or whatever that man's doing to attain a certain lifestyle or
Right.
whatever, if that, as a man, if you would have attained it your first day out the block, would it have meant anything?
Not at all.
If
You're gonna take it for granted and everything in between.
if whatever you were attaining seemed like it was easy, would it mean anything to you?
Not at all.
I'm asking these things because I just man to man, women have to understand that most of the stuff they saying about themselves is just some nonsense. And you're talking about what you want, right? And you want this level of respect, but you don't want to act like it.
Exactly.
You don't want to act like you're the prize. But we see men, no matter what men tell you, and see, this is the thing. No matter what men tell you, men will go after their prize, no matter what
Absolutely.
these men tell you.
Go all out.
And
They
that's
will
why
go
I
all
use
out.
the
I've done it.
NBA as an example.
Exactly.
all of these dudes who don't have rings, Charles Barkley, they'll take, man, I just wish I'd have got my ring.
Yeah.
And Charles played at least 15 years, never got a ring. Kept chasing it, kept going after it.
Exactly.
And if he would have been able to get it his first year or easy, wouldn't have meant the same.
But here's the thing, newsflash for these ladies, because there's a group of ladies out there with that mindset and that thought process, and that thought process of the housewives or whatever it is over there. You know,
Trash.
To every man, I guarantee you, to every man that you've encountered and you spewing that type of language and you carry yourself a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
you look very unattractive. You might be bad in your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
but you're looking horrible in his.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that for 1 second, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Because the other narrative is that you hear women say that, well, those are the women who are getting wiped up. I want you to find me one of those women who continue to be wiped up. Because
Exactly.
those are the women who are getting used up and dumped. Used up and dumped.
A few years and that's a wrap.
Yeah. Used up and dumped. They get the flashy ring or whatever for a minute. And then guess what? They go home. They don't want to cook. They don't want to be a woman. I mean, women now equate being a woman to slavery. I mean, it's amazing.
A ton of times.
It's amazing to me. You know, anytime you see a post where a man is saying, you know, I want a woman who takes care of the homes, you know, she cooks, she doesn't have to pay, you know, the bills or anything. Women will, he wants a slave, he wants a mama.
Right.
Why? Because now women are thinking like they want to act like men, and masculine energy doesn't want masculine energy in return. Women don't respect a man who wants to cook and clean and stay around the house and don't want to pay bills. Why?
Right.
Because feminine energy wants masculine energy in return.
That's right. Let's get to Mark real quick.
Said, I recently heard a strong prophecy from a sister. She coined the phrase revolution over romance. Amen. Mission first. Mission first. Our ancestors did not marry for the mundane concept of love.
Exactly.
They married because of the mission. The mission was the progeny of the nation, the prosperity of the nation, of the tribe, of the lineage. That's what it was. Mission first. And so that's what bounded us together. You know, women right now are looking for something that twinkles in their eye because they've fallen, they've been duped. And this isn't just melanated women. This is all women. Now I'm back talking about all women at this point. I talked about us for a brief minute, but I'm talking about all women. Because across all spectrums, you see this trash. You just see it.
That's right.
And I'm speaking very bluntly because at some point it's just trash.
You know, in the conversation, we call that Disney princesses. That fairy tale woman. She want that fairy tale.
Yeah. And a man that is going to take care of the things that women claim that they want to have taken care of, that's going to come with a cost from you.
That's right.
And so you have to be willing to pay that bill. And men do care about body counts. Men do. When we're talking about, you know, you're being a wife, because nobody wants to walk around with someone and you know, everyone's touched her. No man does. Not just don't. I pass. I'm good.
That's true.
Just the truth. Right.
And they get offended. You know they get offended by that, but
man,
like, damn, excuse me, man, for having standards.
They can be offended. You know, I don't care. It's just the truth. Because either you're going to understand men or you're not.
Right.
Because you can keep saying what men should think, but you don't get to tell us what we should think when it comes to what we want in a woman.
Exactly. One more time.
So
I don't think they heard you.
yeah, you don't get to tell us what we want in a woman. You don't get to tell us what we should have in a woman. You either are going to be the type of woman that attracts men or you're not. And if you're not, that's fine. But stop trying to front like you want a man. No, you don't. You want to do what you want to do, and that's fine too. But say that
Exactly.
because when you want a man who has a certain value system, you're going to have that value system too. And you can't keep thinking that because men do it, you can do it. No, you can't. We're
Nah,
not built the
not at
same.
all. Nah,
Because there's a whole lot of things that women do that men just can't do, and
at
vice
all.
versa. It's just what it is. We wasn't endowed with the same gifts for the same reasons for existing. The reason that men exist is different from the reason that women exist.
Right.
So we got to understand that. So no, we can't come with the same thing. If I've got a shovel, I don't necessarily need you to show up with another shovel. I may just
Exactly.
need you to show up with the seeds.
So what do you feel? How do you feel about turning this thing into a three-part situation?
I think it would be great, and I honestly think that within that conversation, it would be great to have have women on.
We can take care of that. We can definitely take care of that.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to do because this is a conversation that's mandatory at this point. And I'm
Exactly.
being serious when I say if you see a man or a woman who has a culture, and if you've done the work on yourself, I advise you to get with that woman or man who has a culture because what we
Exactly.
see here, there's no culture, so it's going to be very difficult. Which
Exactly.
and this is just what it has been for people. This is why because you don't have the numbers of people who've done the work. Now you got a lot of people who haven't done the work and they can get together and they're going to keep this thing going. But when you start talking about someone who's done the work on yourself and you really do want to better the world and to leave something better,
Right.
then you must go get what you don't have. And right now, one of the biggest things we need is culture. Culture means standards.
I want the ladies to think about this for a second. If that brother walks up to you and he's placing all this stuff on the table, he's placing his personal chisel on the table, he's putting it on the table. He's asking you, what are you bringing to the table? He's not talking about monetary stuff. He's asking, what are you bringing to the table? He's looking
Hmm.
for that personal chisel.
Hmm.
He's looking for your personal chisel, and are you willing to do the work? That's what's attractive these days, ladies and gentlemen, and some gentlemen. That's
Hmm.
what's attractive. A person willing to do the work. If you're not there, that's cool. Nobody's perfect, but if
Hmm.
you're willing to do it,
And to add to that trend, it's amazing because women get offended at that question. So I'm glad you brought it up so that I can be clear on this part.
go ahead, brother.
It is a very legitimate question for a man to ask you what you bring to the table today. This is not 1950 where we knew what you brought to the table. This is not 1960 where we knew what you brought to the table. We don't know what y'all want to do no more. You don't want to do, you don't want to be in the home. You want to act like your career is more important than your. We don't know.
Right,
So we got to ask because
right,
this walking blind thing where you just assume that every woman is feminine and she's going to do all this. We don't know because half y'all not feminine. More than half y'all not feminine. Most of y'all are masculine. So we got to ask.
exactly,
And women talk about, oh, don't I am the table. No, you're not. You're not the table. Just answer the question because a man is actually asking because we have to ask.
exactly.
We have to ask you questions because we don't know your mom and dad anymore. We didn't grow up across the street. We don't have cultural customs and norms. We don't adhere to anything. There's no nothing. So people do need to ask you, what is it? What is it that you want? What do you bring to this situation? What is your why? It's legitimate.
Exactly. And this is why I think that's a great idea to actually invite women onto the platform. As you know, we're not going to tolerate no foolishness. So they're not going to come with the foolishness.
Of course.
You already know they're not going to come with that foolishness. So, but the thing about it is, it's great to have a conversation and discussion and some dialogue, some healthy dialogue, so we get a clear understanding. I think it's time to sound the alarm. So
Mm-hmm.
when I read that post, man, I was like, wow, we really need to talk to these women. We really need to talk to them, and they need to sit and listen and understand. Listen to understand,
Mm-hmm.
not to respond. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And when I say understand, understand exactly where the man is coming from, where he's coming from, where that brother's coming from. There's a ton of frustrated brothers out there who really want to do right by you, but you're not allowing him and giving them the opportunity to do right by you
And real men are not going to argue.
at
They're not going
all,
to sit up there and fight with you.
at all.
Um, you don't want it. I'm not going to give it to you. Cool. I'm out
Exactly.
because no one
So
has time for that anymore.
exactly. So for these new brothers, like Brother Ramiel say, I think it's time for the real men to step in and have a serious adult conversation with these women. These new brothers not doing the right thing.
Mm-mm.
They're not
Mm-mm.
doing the right thing.
No, they are, allowing, propagating, and progressing
Exactly.
nonsense. A lot of these new brothers are out here. Um, they want masculine women because it means that they don't have to be masculine.
Boom.
They don't want the responsibility. So, woo, you want a career? Woo, great. Woo, I didn't want to pay all those
Ooh, I
bills
didn't want
anyway.
to
How much you make?
exactly. Oh,
Like,
I didn't want that
cool.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Yes.
oh,
Exactly.
that's what you make? Cool. Yeah, let's go 50-50.
Exactly.
And then and that's how these guys are. And I talk to them all the time. And it's amazing because they think that in their minds it's the way it's supposed to be. Every adult should have to pay their own way. This is this is what these dudes say. And they have they don't cherish femininity. Do not.
I'm glad somebody's saying that.
Yeah, they do not. And if you listen, they do not. They want a masculine woman because it means that they don't have to be a
Man, let me tell you
masculine
something.
man. These are the
Tell you
same
something.
men
I can't do
that,
nothing with a masculine woman. I
yeah, these
cannot
are
do
the same
anything
men
with a
that if they
masculine
in a
woman.
fight, they want their woman to jump in.
I can't do nothing with a masculine
That's what
woman
they
at
want.
all.
If I'm fighting, babe, you better jump in.
Exactly.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
It's good to be ladies. It's good to be feisty. I love a feisty woman. I love a woman with mouth. But masculine, come on, man. I can't do
Yeah,
nothing with that at all. I
yeah,
need your softness so while I give you a soft place to land.
yeah. Indeed,
So, but this
indeed.
is what we're gonna do, brothers. Is we're coming
Okay.
up on 9 on Central Time and 10 o'clock on Eastern Time, and over there I think it's 8. It's going on. Is it? No, it's 7, right?
Seven my time. Yeah.
7. Gotcha, 7. So what we're gonna do is we guys are gonna turn this into a 3-part series because that post that's a 3-part series type post, and so we could actually dig into this. So we could actually bring the ladies in on part 2 or 3, whichever one you want to do.
I say
The
both.
topic is yours. Okay,
I say both. And I think it's good to have women with from different standards. You
exactly,
know, need to have a woman who may not agree because that's important because you want to give a voice to those women too. Not
exactly,
everyone's going to agree. So that
exactly.
perspective needs to be brought because that's how the conversation is pushed forward. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's what we'll do. We'll write that up. And you actually invite some folks. I'll invite some folks, and
Okay.
we'll get them going. We'll definitely get them going. This is going to be a wonderful topic, man. And like I said, Brother Ramiel is a very deep brother. I've worked with this brother a number of years, and like I told you guys in the write up, bring a notebook because he's gonna bring that work. He's gonna bring it, but you just have to be receptive to it. You have to open up and receive it because there's gonna be some straight talk, no chasing, man. Conversation that we need to have, discussion that we need to have, but it's going to be from a healthy standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be from a healthy standpoint. So we're not sitting on the high panel of judges here at all. You're just going to get some of this knowledge. Any
Indeed.
closing remarks, brother?
Nope. I appreciate everyone who took the time to listen. Hope that we did some good. If there's any questions, you can reach out to me at Ross Speaks on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter,
The website, the website.
Instagram. Yeah, rossspeaks.com. I'm actually in the process of doing some maintenance on it, so you can hit me on my email if you have any issues. And that's Rahmeel the numeral 1 at hotmail.com. Or you see the spelling on here of my name, you can hit me up on Facebook, but let's connect, let's talk.
Good stuff. So we'll be back on for part 2
Yes.
of Are You the Prize? Part 2. We're going to be inviting ladies in a gentlemanly way. And we're going to discuss it and have a healthy dialogue with you ladies. And hopefully we can actually gain some ground and get this thing back on the track and rolling down the hill. So good stuff, man. I appreciate you, Rob. We'll get back. Just let me know the schedule so I write it up, get it on and go on.
Okay, sounds good.
Good stuff.
All right. Peace and love.
Appreciate you guys for tuning into the B2G Unity TV network as Butterfly Evolution and Taylor Kennedy Media combined for better TV together. This is going to be a great thing, man. I'm excited about that. So we're going to do a 3-part series. With part 2 coming up, we're going to add the lady to the conversation and have a healthy discussion. So good stuff. We'll see you guys. Actually, I'll see you guys along with Coach D on Wednesday. So good stuff. I think Tammy's back from her vacation, and I'll see Tammy probably next Tuesday or something like that. Good stuff. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. We'll be back for another epic conversation. Good night.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.